Hello. So I'm not sure where to start with this one. I'm really not. I say that a lot. It's like one of my catchphrases. I'm not sure where to start with this one. So I think I'll start with a caveat that I think most of the problems I have with this movie are all just based on there's a bit of a disconnect because teen movies as a general rule, you know, are aimed at a certain age range. I am clearly not in that age range anymore. I also I didn't like teen movies when I was a teenager. So there's a disconnect going on here. And I think most of my nitpicks about this movie are built around that understanding. The good news is that aside from one thing I had a real problem with, one thing I had just a personal problem with, and a bunch of little nitpicks aside, you know, everything else is a nitpick. This actually is not just a really great movie. But I think, in all honesty, I think it is probably the best coming-of-age teen film that I've ever seen. I'm really trying to think of the other ones that I've seen, and you know, one that's as good as this one, and I really can't think of one. I think this is a really well done movie in almost every respect, with just a few things that, you know, I'll talk about them. Because why I'm having a problem is because the things that bugged me about this movie really fucking bugged me. So I'm having a hard time separating those things that really fucking bug me, and probably will only really fucking bug me, from all the really good stuff in this, because this is a really good film, folks. So if you've probably seen the trailers, so it's about a young man, a high school senior who's secretly gay, and online he meets someone else at his school who's secretly gay, and they form a, you know, kind of a relationship over email, and the thing is him trying to figure out, you know, who the guy is, and there's other things going on and whatnot. What I liked about this movie a lot is that, number one, obviously, I think this is a really important movie for this day and age. And I think what makes this movie really fresh and interesting is that we've seen the teen coming of age, the awkward person trying to find love and all of that teen movie, you know, billions of times over. But this is the first time I think we've really seen it from this point of view, from the young gay man's point of view. And, you know, for so long, you know, the gay teen has been the, you know, the sidekick, has been the, you know, how dare you, Miss Thing, you know, character, kind of, you know, if anybody remembered that parody movie a few, you know, not a few, but quite a few number of years back, you know, Not Another Teen Movie, the gay characters are a lot like they made fun of the black characters in that. They were just supposed to stay to the side, stay out of the conversation, and drop in a couple of, you know, cliche lines like damn and shit and whatnot. So number one, we see this from this very unique and very modern perspective. So that's awesome. And that's just really awesome. Number two, and, you know, I can't speak from personal experience here. Obviously, I was never a gay teenager. But to me, just working with teenagers as much as I do, and knowing several gay teenagers, I gotta say, this has got to be one of the most accurate representation of teenagers, period. on screen that I've seen in a long time. I like how they handled Simon himself. First off, he was, he wasn't stereotypical. He wasn't a cliche. He was a person, a fully realized person. And they surrounded him with other characters that were fully realized people. These weren't, the jock, the cheerleader, the mean guy. At least not for the most part. We're going to get into that in a second. The teenagers themselves were, really, they were written really well, and they were acted really well, kind of across the board. Nick Robinson, I believe, is the young man's name who plays Simon. He was in Jurassic World. He was the older brother in Jurassic World. So it's nice to see that he learned how to act in between those two movies. just kidding. But he does an amazing job holding up this movie. He really does. Because he's got a lot he has to play, and he does it really well. This movie is the definition of a star turn. I think he did an amazing job in this movie. I think the entire cast did a really, really good job for the most part. So that's number 2 in its favor. Number 3 is what I liked is that, again, having never been a gay teenager, I could watch this movie and still see things I could relate to. So while I think this is an excellent movie, especially these days, especially for so many young gay, people, young gay students, to finally hear their voice or to see someone on screen that, represents them, I think just about anybody could go to this film and see aspects of themselves being represented. And for 90% of it, that's really good. There's a 10% I'm going to talk about. But let's praise first before I get up on my high horse. So I think the movie is actually very beautiful. I think it's written really well. It's acted incredibly well. It's a genuinely good movie, which, if you've been watching these, you've seen the shit I've been dealing with lately. Seeing a genuinely good and heartfelt movie, really, really makes you feel good, a bit. So, okay, so let's, I gotta talk about this, because I've been beating around the bush, but I'm gonna talk about these things. So, I like this movie. I want to put that out there, make sure we understand that first off. I really like this movie. But, as I said a second ago, the things that I didn't like, I really didn't like. So we're going to talk about the nitpicky first, and we're going to talk about one that I kind of hit me a little personally, and maybe that's just me, projecting a bit, but it's there. So, nitpicky. So, the teenagers in this film are written really well. The adults, not so much. And I know that when you're doing a teen movie, it's supposed to be obviously from the teenager's point of view, so how they view adults is maybe not accurate, just this how they're supposed to deal with it. But, of course, in this movie, the vice principal is this, this obviously dorky guy who's trying to act all cool, and he's talking to the kids in weird ways, trying to sound hip and all this. And, every moment he's on screen is painful. And as a person who teaches kids, I sit there going, is this how they really, God, I hope I don't sound like this. I really hope this isn't how I come across, So that, the adults in this movie are not written or performed as well. His parents, played by Jennifer Garner and the guy from Las Vegas in the Transformers movies, Josh, last name I can never remember, they do a fairly okay job. I don't think either one of them are the greatest actors in the world. But, there's little things, maybe it's just because my parents weren't, uber liberal about certain things. But, he comes home drunk. Simon comes home drunk from a party, and they're like, oh, he's drunk. Well, but he's home before curfew, and, you know, he didn't drive, so we're not going to be mad at him. We're good parents. Like, no, you're fucking not. Your underage kid is drunk. And yeah, I'm going to be a prude here. Sorry, this is just something. This is like gun control. This is a thing that I really feel strongly about. Underage drinking is not okay. It just fucking isn't. Sorry, when you've known as many people as I have who have either been killed because they were underage drinking or were killed by somebody who was underage drinking, sorry, I don't find it funny and I don't find it cool. No, you're not good parents. You're bad fucking parents because your teenage son has come home drunk. Sorry, that's a me thing. I realize I'm a prude and it's not as big a deal these days, but it is to me. So I didn't like that. I did like the drama teacher, mainly because I am a drama teacher. So, you know, you're always worried, you know, how you come across as a drama teacher. Am I Miss Darbus from High School Musical? And the fact that I know that reference really makes me sad. But the drama teacher in this one is cool. I like, another thing I should have listed in the ups for this movie. I like how it takes a lot of the tropes and the cliches from teen movies and turns them around. You know, like, one thing I've noticed in a lot of movies, you know, a lot of these teen movies, bullying is just a thing that happens, and it seems like whenever there's bullying in any of these teen movies, it seems like there's never an adult around, and these people are just doing these horrible things out in public and never getting any trouble for it. But what I liked about this film is after he gets outed, the only two jerks in the school, of course, do a big asinine thing about it. And the drama teacher comes in and is like, no, you two. And she chews them out. And it's like, thank you. You know, at least it shows that, you know, and they get in trouble for it. They go to the vice principal's office and he chews them out. So they show them actually getting caught and getting in trouble for it. Because a lot of times in these movies, they don't do that. So I liked that. That was good. However, there is one thing personally, a nitpicky, that just every time it was on screen bugged the hell out of me. So Simon and pretty much every student in the show, in the schools, in the school play, and the school play is cabaret. I don't care what fucking liberal ass public school you are going to. No public school is going to let you do a production of motherfucking cabaret. You know, the musical that takes place inside a German whorehouse. That its main character goes to get an abortion at the end. That they sing a song where a man sings a love song to a gorilla, and then at the end of the song says, if you could see her through my eyes, she wouldn't look Jewish at all. Okay? And this is not me ditching cabaret. Cabaret is an amazing, important performance. But there's no fucking way you are doing it in a high school. No fucking way. The only thing more unbelievable than this is when that time on Glee, when they did the Rocky Horror Picture Show. No principal, I don't care how liberal they are, is going to let you get away with that. No fucking way. So that bugged me. And that's a nitpicky thing. But I want to talk about this right now, because there is one thing about this, and again, this is a personal thing. There is one thing about this movie that really did bug me and really did rub me the wrong way. And in a way, it kind of hurt, I'll be honest. So I said, for the most part, the teenagers are all really well written and really well performed and whatnot, except for one. So there is the traditional jerky, nobody likes him, pop cult, nostalgia referencing, awkward with girls, but thinks he's God's gift, character in this, the character of Martin. And this is our antagonist for the film. He, spoiler alert here, he he finds Simon's emails and ends up blackmailing him to try to help Martin get with one of Simon's friends. And then when things go bad, he outs Simon online. So this guy is our villain. He is the bad guy, or he is our antagonist at the very least. And I'm going to be honest, and this is a dumb thing to say, and maybe people are going to laugh at me or get mad at me or talk to me about, my privilege or whatever. In a movie wonderfully told about a gay student coming out and all that. So this sounds weird coming from me, but this character offended me. And offended me personally. And offended me personally for the simple reason that this character, quite frankly, is based on the kind of kid I was in high school and that I am now. They go to his room and at one point, and he's the kid who likes magic tricks. He's got posters of old movies and Groucho Marx on the walls. He's trying so hard to fit in and to find a girl that likes him and whatnot. And he is just an asshole from start to finish. There's very little redeeming about this character, and he never gets a real redemption. And what's when I'm saying that, I mean, watching the movie, he doesn't deserve a redemption. He's a bad person. But I'm sorry, and again, this is a personal thing, but I'm watching this guy going, that's me. That is me as a teenager right there, and that is me now. And in a movie that for the most part does an excellent job with telling people it's okay to be who you are. You don't have to be afraid or be ashamed of who you are. I'm going to be honest, and I know there's no way they could have predicted this. It was really uncomfortable to sit there and basically be told, be who you are, unless you're me. If you were that kid, you have no redeeming qualities. You have no, you're an asshole. You're a jerk. You use people, and there's no redemption for you. You're there to be laughed at. And that again, this is a me thing. I think most people will see this movie and not think much of that character, just because he's not meant to be thought much of. He's the antagonist, You need an antagonist, I guess. I don't know. I think you could have done the movie without that, but I understand how for the plot to kind of happen, they needed it. But I don't know, man. It just and it looked like there for a little while they might actually have him go the other way. They have a line when they're in his room, and he's trying to get Simon to help him, help him get this girl, and Simon's going through his wardrobe and going, well, girls don't want shirts that they have to read. That's fucking what I wear. And Martin stands up and says, I'm not asking you to help change me. I'm asking you to help her see that I'm a nice guy, or see that, to help her see me, basically. And so for a little while there, I thought maybe they were going to go along a parallel, that maybe, it sounds dumb, but being gay is a lot like being this guy. He's trying to be himself, and all he's getting is crap for it, or something like that. And but Martin was still proud of who he was, and wasn't going to change who he was, and was still going to be who he was. So I thought maybe when they had that scene, even though he was blackmailing him at that point, which is a shit thing to do. I thought, okay, I can see where they're going with this. This guy is going to be, he's going to be an ass, but we're going to see there's more to him, and all that. And that does not happen. again, Martin doesn't get a redemption. And again, I understand this is a thing that bugs nobody but me. It's going to bug nobody but me. But, you know, it really, and maybe I'm projecting a little too much, but I mean, it really did kind of hurt to sit there. In all of his scenes, he's such an over-the-top ass and such a, God, you know, except for the blackmailing and the, you know, being a complete douche about it. I mean, God, everything he is me. And like I say, it was me as a teenager, it's me now. And, you know, sometimes you like to feel like you're included too. I know, check your privilege. You know, you're a white man, you know, you don't get to have, you know, you're always accepted. Everybody accepts you. You're a heterosexual white man. You don't have the right to feel, you know, persecuted and whatnot. But, you know, again, in a movie that did such a great job kind of saying that about everybody, this one guy was the one, I guess, is the exception, you know? There's an exception to every rule, and apparently that exception is me. So, yeah. So that's me, and I'm projecting a bit here. I'm not trying to be a downer, and I'm not trying to badmouth this movie because it was just, you know... but again, I think this movie was so good, it didn't need an antagonist. You know, what if, you know, instead of it's just the emails got linked or got leaked accidentally or something like that? You know, why did it have to be a villain? Why did it have to be someone trying to, you know, I don't know. I think the movie was good enough that the weak subplot of the bad kid trying to blackmail him, I think it weakened it, even if it wasn't, you know, a direct slap in my face. But so that being said, so I had to get that off my chest. But I wanted understood, all that being said, that this is a really great movie. And the stuff that I didn't like, I just didn't like. But I think most people, I think teenagers in general should see this movie. I think it's a really good movie. I think it's the best teen movie I've seen ever. And I think its message is great, especially now for, you know, like I say, young homosexual students who are trying to find, you know, their voice. I think it's great for them, but I think anybody can watch it and get something out of it. So, final grade for Love, Simon, I gotta give it an A. I'm gonna give it just a middle A, so not an A plus, not an A minus. I'm just gonna give it an A, just because the stuff I feel, but I can't deny it's a great film. So I think a straight up A, and it was good to see a movie like this. I'm really glad I saw this, and I'm hoping that, you know, crossing my fingers, hoping with, you know, this one, Hurricane Heist, you know, we'll see how Tomb Raider comes out tomorrow, but I'm hoping that this represents a turning of the corner a bit. You know, that maybe we're getting into the good movies for 2018 at long goddamn last. So yeah, and I'm sorry about my little rant there at the end. Just, you know, as to quote Tyrion Lannister, I have great affection for crippled bastards and broken things. I feel sorry for the kid that nobody feels sorry for. That's just me. But it's a good movie. Please go see it. Do yourself the favor and go see it. And yeah, good film. So, checking out Tomb Raider tomorrow. That we're trying to cram a lot of movies here into the last couple days of spring break. I don't know where my spring break went. It went by fast. Because of course everything that I want to see didn't come out the week of spring break, coming out the weekend. So I'm trying to cram all these movies into like the next 3 days. So yeah, so seeing Tomb Raider tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Got a couple others I want to see. So gonna have a lot of these drop at the same time. So until next time, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.